Okay, so yeah, Muji and self-inquiry. I was going regularly to see Muji about 14 years ago at his place. And one day he asked if anybody wanted a one-to-one meeting with him for self-inquiry, and I volunteered. So I did go to his house for a one-to-one meeting with him for self-inquiry, and he asked me, what am I? What did I experience myself as? And I said, I'd been doing the self-inquiry, and I'd come to this kind of witnessing behind my head. And he asked, and is there something behind that? He's like a little man observing the witnesser. And I had a white light spiritual experience, followed by coming out of that, I was in bliss. The whole world was revealed in technicolor. There was a joy, a love and a oneness beyond anything I had ever experienced before. So that was what happened with me with self-inquiry. What is self-inquiry? Are you, should I carry on talking about what you're familiar so far with self-inquiry? Or anything at all?
A few people's teachings that
Ramana Maharishi. Yes, Ramana Maharishi. Okay, so see, the thing is, self-inquiry is what is myself? What is my true self? Yeah, and so what am I, or who am I? So it would go along as well. You could say hypothetically, am I my thoughts? But then anything we'd say that can pass is passing. Yes. So if, let's say this mat. Yeah, this is a mat. Now this mat may pass before me. So if the mat is passing before me, can I be the mat? No. Because I am the observer of something that can pass. You with me? Yeah. So we have thoughts. Well, thoughts pass, so there must be an observer of thoughts passing. What about feelings that arise and pass? Well, feelings are also observed to be passing. So can one be a passing feeling? Or is one, bless you, or is one that which is eternally present and observing that which is passing? What about sensations in the body? Well, they come and go. But something is aware, something observes them coming and going. Is that which is observing the things that can pass or change? So there are many things that are observed or witnessed to be passing and changing. But is there here something that can never pass? What always remains eternally constant, but all types of things pass before it? Can one get, i.e., what am I? Who am I? So with that, there may be thoughts flitting through. So it's to recognize that, if something is passing, there has to be something prior. Like if you go into a cinema and there's a screen with images, is one the images one is observing, or is one the observer that sees all images change before it? You see, so you have thoughts, you have feelings. So what am I really? And is it really true to say that something that's temporarily in front of me is really me? Can the real me be like, if suddenly there's no thought, and there's a thought, and then there's no thought, is it really true to say I am a thought? Or am I that which is always eternally here, which can see everything that can come and go? And can I get an experience of that? So if I was to say that, we can try it right now and see where we go. So the thing with this is, there's intellectual ideas, but can I be an intellectual idea? Or am I something that can observe? Because often when you ask someone, what are you? They'll give you a concept that they believe they are. But that's just a concept that's observed. But anyway, if I was to ask you now, if you were just to check in with this current moment of your experiencing in this moment, how would you, I could say that, oh, what's your experience of what you are in this moment?
I guess it's most simply that I'm here. I can tell I'm here.
Okay, how are you experiencing that? This here-ness, how is it experienced? Is the here-ness limited? Is it like you're trapped in a location? Is it the thinking is here? What is here-ness? How is it being experienced for you in this moment?
I'm aware of where I want to focus, and I'm aware of what's...
You're aware of what you're focusing on, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, so there can be, like focus is something that can go somewhere, they could be focusing on the table, or they could be focusing on a chair, or a person, yes? But something, so focusing can happen, but there can also be no focusing as well, yes? There can be no focus or focusing. So, and something is also aware of when focusing is happening and when there's no focusing, yes? So these are events. Focusing is like something that can occur or not occur, and something is aware when it's happening and when it's not happening. Yeah, so, okay, so there's focusing, and then there are times when there's no focusing, yes? And there's awareness when it's happening and when it's not happening. So right now, is it like the experience is what you're focusing on is what you experience yourself you are? Is that correct right now? What's your experience now?
Yes, I guess what it seems like what is doing the focusing.
So whatever is doing the focusing is the experience that is you?
Yeah.
Okay. So something is doing focusing, shall we say. There's an experiencing of something doing focusing. Can you go... So this thing sometimes does focusing, it sometimes doesn't. Yeah? And there is something here which is observing. There's an observer of the focusing which is not focusing. Yeah? So just like... So something is observing focusing which is not the focusing. Can you go to that?
Yeah.
Okay, so, and you don't even have to say, you can nod your head yes or no, but the experience now, does it have any limits to it? Is there an experiencing of limitation in this moment?
No.
Okay. So that then is the true self, you see. Why? Because if there is an experiencing of limit, like if you were to tell me that I'm experiencing myself in a limited fashion right now, like, oh, there's focusing going on there, well then something is observing that which is limitless, which is not that constricted. Focusing is actually a constriction, it's a limit. So there is something here which is limitless, which has no boundaries, which is not in time, is not in space, it's not in anything that the ego can do, like focus, in non-focus, think, not think, be a location, but is beyond even location. It's the limitless, it's the eternal. That is in which everything happens, but this is the one self that can never pass. So self-inquiry is like inquiring. Usually in the beginning, for most spiritual seekers, they would say something like, I'm my thinking, I'm my body, or I'm my perceptions. But then all of this is happening in something deeper, which is eternal and non-passing. So these are the things happening in it. but these are not it. So when there is it's a spiritual experience, to experience yourself as limitless. And the experience now, has it changed?
I think so.
Yeah. So that is the process of self-inquiry. And actually, it's like, the investigation is like, if you experience yourself to be a limit in the now, then something, what is here that is observing this limited sense of me? Like, and that which is observing must always be of a larger dimension. And if suddenly, like for example, let's say, oh, I feel like I'm taking up the whole room. I'm like filling up the whole room. Well, okay, but the room has a dimension. So what's observing the dimension of the room? Is something usually which is either bigger or is either in the realm of the limitless. It has no boundary. It's not located or fixated in a little space or location. Well, with that experience, one is in the limitless. So it's classically termed enlightenment, because one is now beyond all limits. Most people identify with thoughts, with body, with feelings, with sensations, with focus, in focus, attention, inattention, but all of these are happening within it. So when you let go of the identifications with these, then one suddenly experiences the true eternal self, which is limitless, eternal, can never die, has never started, can never end. And with that recognition that this is the truth of who I am and what I am, then all suffering, as Buddha said, all suffering, fear drops away, because there's a recognition that, oh, my experience is that the nature of myself can never die, never get old, is not subject, and in fact doesn't easily get touched into what normal humans, like, I haven't got enough money in my bank account, is a thought. Or what am I going to do tomorrow is a thought, you see, or there's a pain in my foot is a thought. But all of this is being observed. And actually, what you find is that the more you stay in the eternal place, it's like the world starts to affect you less. It's not, if it's raining or if it's shining, it doesn't make an effect. Whereas when one is in the limited sense of self, i.e. the ego self, then the ego prefers, oh, I like sun, I don't like rain. Or I like money, I don't like no money. So you transcend the duality. You transcend the dualistic, separate and opposites, and dualistic nature of how the ego interprets and classifies the world. So you start to go into the realms of eternal peace, love, joy, oneness. You're in the limitless realm. It's like the idea, when you're very identified with a separate self, the ego and the body, it's like you start to feel like, oh, I'm stuck in this location, this is me and that is you. And as you let go of these belief systems and the unification of the body, then there just seems to be an all-present oneness, an all-present love. There is no separation. So these start to be the realities that are experientially realized, not as mental constructs, but actually, like you said, there's an experience of limitlessness. When that's experienced, it's beyond, because the intellect is always going to create constructs and mental concepts. But this is actually before all mental concepts and constructs and thoughts and belief systems. You're in the field prior to bigger than thought. And actually thought is realized if you identify with thought, then you get pulled into a limited construct. And you can't experience the truth of who am I, what am I, which is self-inquiry. So Ramana, Muji, their teachings point to realize the truth of your true nature and let go of your identifications with limits to experience your true limitless nature, in which all suffering ceases, and spiritual recontextualization of life. It's also, a great healer. Because it's just, when there's too much mentalization Usually there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of stress, there's a lot of anxiety, there can be depression, various things. The body starts to get ill. As you start to rest in that limitless peace and love and happiness and joy, healing and health start to become automatic functions of the true nature. So I'm very happy that you have some interest in Muji. Muji is one of my teachers. If you're in, are you still in the eternal place? Good. So as long as you don't identify with something that is limited, don't get stuck into anything limited, you stay there. You'll find that there is a field of grace and flow. Like the day will float by, everything will just happen beautifully. It's a state of grace. It's the state of one is actually a part of the universe and the universe is part of you. And it's like everything will support you. On the days when you're in what I'd call a very ego state, you'll find the day very difficult. Things will go wrong. There'll be anger or resentments or fears about things. There'll be a lot of projection about the future or the past. So that's a very constricted, limited state. And as you just trust in staying in the limitless state, you'll find that life will flow. You'll start to be in alignment with your highest self, what your truest heart or soul expression for this life is going to be at the highest level. As one goes more into the ego identifications, life becomes more about ego objectives, or that which one has been culturally or programmed with. Typical ones could be like success or things just for ego purposes. But more when one is in alignment with the truth, it's more from the heart, more from love, more from service, more from an experiencing of one's ultimate self and compassion and a required and a generosity to heal or help others from a genuine place. Whereas from the more ego motives, it comes more from fear, survival, or pride, or of those levels of ego existence. So I watch Muji regularly on YouTube. It's a great, I believe it's a great grace that he has hundreds of videos out there. And he's just telling you to go back to your truth. Go back with each member, with each meditation. Let go. Let go. The thoughts are meaningless. The truth is here, and just being in the truth is all that matters. You have anything else on this? You don't have to. I mean, it's probably good that if you're in this place, you stay in this place. Talking is not really useful.
Yeah.
Cool, thank you.